Welcome to the Creative Condition podcast with me, Ben Talon, illustrator and creativity coach, founder of the Creative Condition, artist and writer. I bring 20 years of creative industry experience and a lifelong love of creativity, a fundamental pillar of human happiness, to you through ongoing personal exploration and the shared experiences of others. You'll get a nourishing mix of creative industry professionals and people far and wide using creativity in ways that can take our learning to the next level so we can maximise our unique blend. The show's been supported from day one by Illustration X, a tremendous illustration agency representing a shining global roster of illustrators and animators over at illustrationx.com. The music for the show is by Dirty Freud, who you can listen to now on all good streaming services. And for everything else, for my coaching, resources and inspiration, head to thecreativecondition.com. Hello and welcome back to The Creative Condition. This is me, Ben Talon. I am your host, founder of The Creative Condition, creativity coach, artist, illustrator and writer. Welcome back, guys. If you're regular listeners, thank you. Valued as ever. It's lovely to have you here on this Gotham City weather January morning as I record. Monday morning, always a little tough on the old brain and the nervous system I find these days. Newbies, welcome. How did you find the show? Get in touch, drop me a note. I'd love to hear from you. It's great to have you. The show's been going 10 years, so please do go back and familiarise yourself with the lore. Go back and listen to Sir John Hegarty, Annie Atkins, Malika Favre, misled on 3 occasions. They're all there. Artists, designers, creativity pioneers, but we're also talking to doctors and Olympic gold medal winners and rock stars and scientists and psychologists, and I love all of it. I come at creativity from so many angles because this show's purpose is hopefully to elevate creativity's standing in our societies, because I think it is vastly undervalued, especially in these times. So that's it. We look at all sorts. We talk mental health, we talk practicing creativity, we talk project, we talk branding, we get into the nerdy side of that stuff with some people, and with others we talk about deep listening, we talk about spirituality, we get into all of it really, everything that influences creativity. If you need something a little deeper, I do offer one-to-one and group coaching. I'm loving that this year. The bookings have been good so far. Been doing plenty of pit stops. That's the flagship one-to-one intensive session. Takes about 3 hours. No stone is left unturned. We do it in person if we can. I like to come to London quite often and meet people, but I've also done Reading, Portsmouth, Manchester. I get around if you're happy to do that. I love to meet people in person. You get body language, you get energy in the room, you make a small bond, you can have a break, you can have a wander. It's lovely. So if you're interested in that, get in touch. Read all the details at thecreativcondition.com/coach. If you don't have the budget for that and you still want help, that's why I'm here doing this podcast. 300 plus episodes there for free to help you, along with the reading list on the website, the articles that I write, this very diary which I'm reading from today in the 26th instalment. So let's get to it. A big thank you to the founding sponsor of the show, Illustration X. You can check out their brilliant global range of illustration and animation portfolios for that beautiful custom human-made artwork. We need it in these times. Not everything can be automated, otherwise we don't have an industry left and we don't have value in human connection. So check that out at illustrationx.com. They're a fantastic agency working to do so much good for our industry, working against intellectual property grabs with AI and the likes. They work with the Society of Artists Agents and the Association of Illustrators to do so much good work. Check them out now. Also, the Ukrainian Institute, ui.org.ua, brilliant body of work from the embattled and brave Ukrainian creative community during this horrendous time of war, showing us why art and design still matter, making and creating still matters even in conflict and dark times. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, 5th of January 2026, the first morning back, New Year creativity reflections and the importance of self-awareness. An understated moment proved to be a big turning point last year. I'd done some live drawing at the Dixon, Baxi and Paradiso event in London and joined the teams for a drink after we'd wrapped up. Chat was fast and passionate. Despite a good relationship with Simon Dixon, this was the first post-work beer we'd shared, and I got into a lot. Somewhere in the chat, while explaining that I often found it challenging to effectively title myself professionally, he said, "You're not an illustrator, are you?" I looked him in the eye and nodded, knowing he'd hit upon something. Simon had been in the game much longer than I have, and our connection had been around something deeper than a mere skill or a role. In all of our previous conversations, we'd explored themes, ideas, and truths that transcended limiting disciplines. "You're a storyteller." I just slurped my pint and stared back before babbling something about this being on the money. But like all revelatory moments, it took time to disrobe itself, confronting me as something hard to look away from. He wasn't talking about business card copy. This is about living as your inner artist. Every human has one. Some lead careers and lives with them. Others sadly never access theirs. It was about essence. Since a very early age, I've adored storytelling in many forms, and now it has become my creativity compass. My passion and my purpose, in fact. This is bigger than a profession for me. 2025 was the toughest mental health year I've had. A full-blown midlife crisis. Not sports cars or the likes, but a search for deeper meaning. Rampant anxiety bursting pipes in every room of my inner sanctum as I tried to manage a hectic, expensive life as a parent, partner and professional in a world that felt frenzied and maniacal. I bent, but thanks to friends, family and the belief that I could adapt, I didn't break, and I found the inner strength to do the required work. I learned about the mind and the nervous system and thought habits, and I'd allowed myself to run me ragged and recognised the need to slow down. The midlife crisis is incredibly common across a wide range of ages, from around 29 into the early 60s, I heard. But from all this, I've emerged with at least a finger on the wheel. I have tools now, and a plan that is sympathetic to my energy and mental capacity. A plan that is built on storytelling, curiosity, and my desire to contribute to the elevation of creativity's role in our society. I have pit stop coaching sessions lined up this January, which I'm giddy about. In this session, I help people to work through their current position, their story to date, their fears and desires, and their opportunities and blocks before assessing all components of their creativity to ensure they get back to the place they need to be, to feel passionate, energised and in control. And now, I have a brand new coaching offer. Last year I worked on 2 biographical stories for 2 prominent people in the creative industry. With both people, I indulged in a magical 12 plus hours of deep conversation, hearing all of their experiences, expertise and points of view. Creative writing and book coaching came together to tell 2 brilliant stories. Every human has one, though most don't believe it about themselves. I found it unbelievably fulfilling, so I distilled a more accessible version for those who do not wish to write a full book, but could benefit from writing their story to serve as a compass for their creativity and purpose. It's a 4-session story coaching program that could benefit anyone who has become a passenger in their own life or career, as happens to so many of us in this breakneck-paced life. You can learn about both the book and the coaching offers at thecreativecondition.com/story. I'd love to help you weave your narrative. And of course, this will be my 19th year making commercial art, telling visual stories across branding, advertising, editorial, sport, music, motion, and whatever else remains a core part of my work. I'd love to bring this to your projects. I felt peace this morning that was lacking too often in 2025. The ominous first day back. It was frosty with a light dusting of snow here in Salisbury as the sun rose on the dog walk. A small ripple of anticipatory stress crept in. But instead of last year's tendency to panic and attach all kinds of damaging meaning to it, I took a breath and accepted its inevitable presence, something that should pass by mid-morning if I remain organised. Stress is a part of all of our lives, but the role it plays in any one of our stories and our creativity is more in our hands than we realise. It's about becoming the author. 9th of January 2026, The Daily Stoic. The need for accepting what we can control in our chaotic times. Creativity is a fundamental part of the human condition. So, if we're routinely anxious, panicked, full of gloom, it's incredibly hard to access the wonder and joy that fires it. This wonder is essential if we are to contribute our creativity to a better world. Don't get me wrong, no emotions are wholly positive or negative, and those we lump in the negative sack are powerful, but harder to use effectively, especially when such prickly emotions are sustained. But a baseline of optimism is crucial to making the work truest to who we are. For this reason, when I coach clients, I ask them about their insurmountables, the big horrible antagonists that are beyond our control, but blow raspberries at us from the rooftops as we try to enjoy the flight of birds. I've helped clients tackle fears around misogyny, younger years misdemeanours, inescapable chores, and more, all in service of freeing them to make the magic only they can make. Personally, through anxiety and at the times of despair over the ecological crisis, and in my work times, my own mortality, I felt empty, ruined by the kind of fear that makes me want to climb out of my own skin. I've had to do deep internal reckoning to ease those, and easing they are. In part, this is thanks to the work of Ryan Holiday. Ryan is a philosopher, and I stumbled across his important work while seeking to understand the ways of the brain. Stoicism's teachings have become a guiding light for me, as I seek to maintain the many positives my high sensitivity and curious brain have given me, while policing the overthinking downside. I also have Dan Kieran to thank for introducing me to Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, which has been incredibly helpful. As I said, no emotions or even traits are wholly positive or negative. I'll be adding the Daily Stoic to the Creative Condition reading list. Stoicism, at its core, is self-mastery, acknowledging what we can control in our lives, and learning to manage the ills of what is beyond our direct influence. It's about making choices to enable us to contribute meaningfully to the world with fulfillment and joy. January 19th, 2026. Overwhelm and creativity. The desperate need for space in a very full head and its role in the creative process. Most days, even when I know I'm more than up to the tasks at hand, I feel overwhelmed. The psychologists and psychotherapists speak of the stress jug overflowing and a person becoming sensitized. That's what happens to me. Before I know it, thousands of thoughts and concerns blast through my brain and activate my nervous system, my threat response called to arms. It's a symptom of our information age and a pillar of the mental health crisis. So I've been making space. It feels impossible, but it's not. When I slow down and take time to breathe, immediate guilt is upon me because I feel that my chances of earning what I need to earn are diminished. As a man with many responsibilities, there's always something I could be doing to help the family, take the business forward, or keep myself occupied. Yesterday, I listened to a Taoism podcast about overwhelm. I wondered if this was counterintuitive given my stretched mind, but it helped. It opened with a story about a potter asked by his apprentice about how he shaped the clay so beautifully. The potter smiled and explained that he was not shaping the clay, but creating the space inside. It immediately hit home. If you head to the Creative Condition reading list, you'll find the brilliant In Praise of Shadows on this very topic. Find that at thecreativecondition.com. The human mind does not have the capacity to handle the amount of material we feed it in our times. I recently made the silly mistake of clearing a few more tasks on my laptop on the train back from an intense coaching session I delivered in London. It cost me a full night of sleep because I couldn't shut down the chatter in my head. The overspill of this is ongoing nervous exhaustion and overwhelm. Since then, instead of using a free slot or evening for busy work, I try to consider the emptiness available. I don't always need to watch TV, check my phone, read my book, or do anything at all. What if sitting still or looking out the window is enough? I've been making conscious choices according to my energy and how full my stress jug is. My choice to expand my creativity into coaching, podcasting and writing while maintaining my career as an illustrator and artist necessitates a certain amount of dedication and task elimination, but all too often In the busy work headspace, I'll veer into autopilot, continuing to do, when what would really help with inner calm and seeing clearly the best way forward is space. Space to breathe, to simply be. In the Creative Condition book, I wrote about the role of the unconscious and its ability to handle solutions we cannot crack with persistence and grind. The classic shower moment. We are conditioned to do more all of the time, and it keeps us trapped, disconnected from feeling the way forward, the inner compass. I'm naturally disorganised, or maybe lazy, or both. So I have to work hard to stay organised in my day-to-day life. I don't miss deadlines, but I'll allow what could be a simple list of tasks ordered by urgency and importance to become a monstrous thought swarm that leaves me in this awful state of overwhelm, and the sleepless cycle begins again. The podcast I mentioned also shares the story of a Zen master responding to a student's thirst for knowledge and answers by continuing to pour his tea long after the cup is full. And that applies here. For a long time, I've been pouring, and I'm up to my brain in it, struggling to breathe. But now, I've pulled back, and I'm beginning to ladle out the tea until there's some room so I can calmly drink what's inside. Thank you guys, getting into the realms of the spiritual there, but I am in the midst of a beastly midlife crisis, so I hope that's good for you. I hope that's of some use. And just some other thoughts on that. It's that idea that there's no room to admit anything else into our brains when we're in nervous overwhelm and when our stress jug is full. So we have to not wait until that point to pull back, but to integrate the practice of silence and reflection into our lives, whatever that looks like for you. I've started to meditate recently, but that might not be for you. Maybe just a slow walk where you're trying to stay as present as possible and observing the thoughts that come in, but not paying too much attention to them. Touch a wall, touch a tree. I don't know what it looks like for you, but to be present, to have a single focus and create headspace only helps us when we're in the busy spells, which invariably come around. So I'd love your thoughts on that. Ben@bentalon.com if you want to get in touch. If you want to talk about any coaching one-to-one, I would love to do that. I'm loving working with people, helping people this year. I have 3 people on 6-month programs, helping them to get to a specified goal or being a thought partner as they move forward and try to understand where they need to go. I'm also doing pit stop sessions one-to-one. It's a one-shot thing. That's why it's called the pit stop. We check in, I meet you exactly where you are. We talk where you've been, where you're going, where you are right now. And we look at every aspect of your creativity to get you aligned on that right path for you. I also do talks, workshops. If you're running an agency and you see some value in that, then give me a shout. Or come in. We'll do the Creative Condition talk. Or I can work with a group of people to talk about storytelling. Big thank you to the founding sponsor of the show, illustrationx.com, wonderful illustration and animation agency representing some of the world's greatest artists. Check them out now at illustrationx.com. And a big thank you to the Ukrainian Institute, who I continue to support because I believe that they're doing vital work, helping to support the brave creative community in Ukraine at this time of war. You can do that too. Something as simple as sharing a piece of work that you like would be massively valuable. If you're in a position to commission somebody or mentor them, then reach out, get in touch. That's what it's there for, ui.org.ua. And for all of my stuff, head to thecreativecondition.com. There's something for everyone's budget, whether you've got nothing, a little, or a decent bit to invest in yourself, so we can do some coaching together. Let me know. I'd love to talk. Thank you for listening, guys. This has been the 26th installment of the Creativity Diary. See you next week.